All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning and thanks for listening in. This is the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 10th of June. Here's everything that you need to know. India added 9,987 fresh COVID-19 cases in the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday morning, taking the total tally beyond the 2.5 lakh mark. The number of deaths has now risen to nearly 7,500, but the good news is that nearly 1.3 lakh patients have recovered. Meanwhile, a top World Health Organization official attempted to downplay her comment that asymptomatic transmission of the coronavirus is very rare, an assessment that revived controversy over transmission routes. In a live event on social media to take questions from the public on Tuesday, Maria Van Kerkhove said her comments referred to 2 or 3 studies that have been published and that try to follow asymptomatic cases over time and look at all their contacts to see how many additional people have been infected. In India, there has been much talk about the economic impact of the lockdown to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the latest data, though, unemployment has begun to drop as restrictions are eased and economic activity picks up. The jobless rate fell to 17.5% during the week ended 7th of June from the peak of 27.1% in the preceding week. That's according to data from the Centre for Monitoring the Indian Economy. In a research note citing this data, Nomura has said that the economy added 2.1 crore jobs in May after having lost 1 crore jobs in March and 1.14 crore jobs in April. As lockdown relaxations began in May, job additions were contributed by small traders, wage laborers, and businesses worst hit by the strict curbs. Reliance Retail's JioMart, which was launched in multiple cities last month, has temporarily suspended delivery from neighborhood stores, according to Jefferies India. It's not been able to service customers through its network of local retailers for the past 2 weeks, and one of the reasons could be the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the brokerage, which cited its conversations with 7 retailers in Mumbai who were part of the pilot. The shutdown is temporary and the company is supplying customers from its own stores, according to the report. Reliance Retail has yet to respond to Bloomberg Quint's emailed queries. In the renewable energy space, Gautam Adani's group of companies won solar tenders worth $6 billion as auctions gather momentum despite concerns about demand and costs. Adani Green Energy won the bid from state-run Solar Energy Corporation of India for 8 gigawatts of solar power and 2 gigawatts of panel manufacturing, according to exchange filings by companies. The government also awarded contracts to Azure Power Global and Renew Power. In international news, the International Air Transport Association on Tuesday predicted that carriers will lose a combined $84 billion this year and almost $16 billion in 2021, its first estimate of the hit to earnings since the COVID-19 crisis began. That compares with $31 billion lost during the 2008-2009 recession. And Cathay Pacific Airways became the latest global airline to receive a lifeline to get through the coronavirus pandemic, with the company's chairman saying a plan to raise $5 billion from the Hong Kong government and shareholders was necessary to avoid collapse. In international markets, US stocks declined, with the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones losing 0.8 and 1% respectively. The tech-heavy Nasdaq climbed another 0.2% though. And indices in the Asia-Pacific region, taking cues from Wall Street, have started the day in the red. And with that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning, Agam. How are we looking today?
Good morning, Alice, and good morning, listeners. After seeing some weakness yesterday, it seems we may see some amount of recovery based on the moves of the SGX Nifty futures, which are currently trending higher by 70 points. But once again, let's start with earnings in focus. And we have Hero MotoCorp, where largely in line with expectations, revenues declined 21% and net profit was down 15%. The company managed to keep margins in double digits, coming in at 10.6% against 13.6%. The earnings were operationally in line with the net profit slightly above because of lower taxes. Moving on, we have earnings from Team Lease Services as well, where revenues were up 14% at 1,330 crores in line with expectations, but the company also reported a net loss of 29 crores against a profit of 26 crores. The change in taxation provisions where MAT credit was written off have impacted bottom line numbers. The employee count increased by 4,000 year on year to a total of 2.2 lakh. Now, we have the general insurance and auto stocks in focus, considering IRDAI has withdrawn the long-term package cover of 3 to 5 years for motor-owned damage for new cars and new two-wheelers with effect from August 1st. Godrej Consumer Products, in a release, announced that Vivek Gambhir will resign from the post of MD and CEO with effect from June 30th, and Nisaba Godrej will be appointed as the new MD and chairperson till September 2022. Moving on, Bharti Airtel's Singapore arm has increased its stake in Bangladesh-based Robi Axiata from 25% to 31.3%. Adani Green, which has been so strong of late, is also in the news, where we understand Gautam Adani has stated in a conference call that there's room for the company to dilute stake to as much as 10 to 15%, and that some companies are in talks to buy stake in Adani Green Energy. The company is also aiming to win a 10 gigawatt worth of projects over 6 to 8 months. And finally, we have Minda Corp, where its German arm has filed for insolvency due to a liquidity crisis, and this move is expected to enhance the company's EBITDA by 2% and its return on capital employed by 5%. Now, these are just some of the stocks you can watch out for as we move into trade today, but don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Argam. Well, that's all we have for you in this podcast, but as always, there's a lot more on the website BloombergQuint.com, so don't forget to check it out. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.